How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about The Woods from 2006, directed by Lucky McKee. Lucky McKee, you may know from movies like May and All Cheerleaders Must Die. Some pretty good movies under his belt, and this is actually the first time I'm covering Lucky McKee on this channel. I'll definitely try to get to more of his movies soon. In particular, really wanting to take a look at May. This is the 2006 movie called The Woods. There are several movies called The Woods. I'm talking about the Lucky McKee one. There are a few others. I think Netflix is actually putting out one called The Woods. And it kind of bugs me when a big studio, they put out a movie and they title it the same thing as a movie that's already came out. I know that The Woods is kind of a generic title, but this is a really good and relatively popular movie. You could have looked up to see if there's any other movies with this name. I mean, I haven't seen that movie yet, and I don't really want to dish on a movie that I haven't seen, but Netflix kind of has this reputation for try-hard art house pictures, and again, I don't want to dish on a movie I've not seen yet, but could you come up with a different title? Just one of those things that bugs me. But anyway, without further ado, this movie stars Agnes Bruckner, Patricia Clarkson, and Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is more of a special appearance. We'll get into his role in the movie later on. I'm going to do a little bit of a, not quite a summary, but describe the movie a little bit. I won't do any spoilers, though. Now, trying to, let you know kind of what this movie's about. You get this girl, Heather. The year is 1965, and she's being sent to a private school because she started a fire in what appears to be like the woods behind her house, which caught most of her house on fire, and in turn she has to be sent away to this school, a private school for girls, Fallburn Academy. Way out, one road leading to it, creepy old building, great set, and of course, the titular woods surrounding the school, the woods. She's being sent by her parents, played by Bruce Campbell and Emma Campbell. And seeing as how in real life, Bruce Campbell and Emma Campbell, I'm betting that that's probably his real life wife, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, she's being sent to this private school. Now, there is a little bit of a problem. Bruce Campbell isn't as well off as he appears to be, so she needs to take this special test to see if she can get a scholarship, and it's a weird test. It's printed on, like, really thick paper, almost like if you had tried to make paper at home, which you can do. Look up that on YouTube if you want. But really thick paper, and all the questions have answers that are 4 different symbols. And the questions are, which one represents nature? Which of these symbols represents hatred? And it's really weird and subjective stuff. Now, towards the end of the test, she accidentally gets a paper cut, and the paper soaks up a little bit of her blood. And I have to say, the idea of a haunted or cursed test is a really cool idea. Not that the role is ever super, spelled out for this test, but there's something up with it. And a haunted test, that's a cool idea. So she apparently gets pretty good on this scholarship test. She gets let in, and she of course has the troubles you might expect from a young troubled girl going into this school, the middle of nowhere by herself. She's lonely. She only has one friend, Marcy, which I kind of wonder, she's a redhead in this movie, and her best friend's Marcy. It kind of reminds me of Peanuts. I wonder if it's a little Easter egg. But you also get, of course, the bullies that try to pick on her, and the bully goes after her, but keep in mind this is a girl that's sent here because she burned down her family's house. She's not gonna take it too much. Now, she is not like a super rage-filled character that's just gonna instantly hit this girl back, but she's not gonna sit there and take too much bullying. And I find that that's a really good balance with this character. Heather, played by Agnes Bruckner there. This character, it'd be really easy to play her as way too angry and just like a little ball of rage, and then the character might become too unrelatable. But they play her just right, where, you know, she's not gonna take it, but she's also not gonna lash out at a moment's notice. You know, it makes her really relatable, just, you know, trying to be a good person, but having that under your skin where you really don't like all the situations you've been put in. And I really like how she goes about playing this character. Very relatable, and it could have been a cliche, and thank goodness it wasn't. But yeah, you know, she's there, she gets bullied, but it's not just the school problems. She hears whispering in her ears, sounds coming out of the woods, and getting creepy dreams. But also, you know, getting in a little bit of trouble with the school staff. And you know something's up with the staff. The movie, in particular, Lucky McKee's direction, does a really good job at saying something's off without being too over the top and weird. There's little things like the actors being purposely a little too stiff at times, and you're like, okay, that person is normal enough, but there's something weird with them. There's like one of the school administrators who has a twitch, you know, that she does, just enough to make her off without seeming over the top, you know, because sometimes you have a character and you say, okay, play it where you have this weird thing about you, and the actress does it way too much, but it's just enough to go, okay, there's something weird with this character. So a lot of the acting is played good with just a little bit there that's wrong, and it's so hard to do that at the right balance, and this movie really does the right balance. And also, Lucky McKee's camera angles. There's so many camera angles that, like the acting, are good, right choices, but there's something just a little bit off about so many of his camera angles. He'll like to do with this movie angles that are just way too high. You know, it's like, okay, covering the scene well, but it's a little off because this is way too high, or way too far to one side. And the idea that the camera is even a little off, it sets the atmosphere so good. And there's other camera choices, like a girl hears someone talking when she's asleep, and it shows from her perspective, and the camera's sideways looking at these characters. Really, really good direction in this movie, and so good at playing that role of not being over the top, in your face creepy. In fact, sometimes during a dream sequence or towards elements at the end, there are big creepy moments, and they do work well enough, but it's like the little moments where I could say this is creepy and I'm not sure why, they worked really effectively. And you know, when you see the bigger moments, you're like, okay, that's cool, I can appreciate it. But I was really digging where, you know, it was the little things, you know, and that's really where this movie shines. But in addition to the atmosphere, there's something within Heather herself. She knows she was chosen, and with the scholarship, she has to go and do special lessons every now and then that are in private with the headmistress. And yeah, she's starting to suspect that there's more to her. She does things every now and then, like she'll put a pencil on her desk and it'll be like perfectly balanced, and she's wondering not just what's going on with the outside world, but within herself, which is a really good high school thing where, you know, in real life high school, everything's so uncertain, but you also kind of don't know about yourself, and it really plays it off here. Now, in the trailers for this movie, they really push this element. This is part of the movie, but the trailers try to make it look like it's Carrie or something. Don't go in expecting Carrie. The elements of her and not knowing exactly who she is are there and they are important to this movie, but the trailers try to make it look like it's going to be like Carrie or Phenomenon or something. It's a part of the movie, but not the main thing. If I had to pick a movie that this is more like, this is really kind of like The Conjuring. You know, don't expect a superpowers movie, but expect a good haunted movie, a movie with spirits. And I don't want to spoil exactly what the spirits are, but you know this place is haunted, and you know there's an oppressive force. There's this legend told by the girls that years and years ago, like, witches came out of the woods and they, like, mind controlled the other girls and they wound up, like, killing the old head mistress or something. And you don't know if this story is real, and if so, how much of it is true, because the girls kind of argue about a few points. But you know that there is something, some spirit or spirits in the woods. And yeah, it's much more of a ghost movie. So if you guys are like Conjuring fans, I definitely recommend checking this out. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell, a great big actor with lots of fans. He's in this movie a bit, but it's more of a special appearance. He's not the star, and he's not really a main character. You get Bruce Campbell at the beginning, and they kind of do a funny thing. He's a husband with a really over-the-top, oppressive wife, and in fact, it's implied it's the mom that drove Heather over the edge to start the fire. But he's got this oppressive wife, and Bruce Campbell, when they do the scene where they drop off the kid, they actually don't give him any lines because the wife keeps talking over him. At one point, it looks like he's going to talk, and the wife steps in front of the camera. But you have an actor known for goofy, over-the-top lines in his delivery, and the first part of the movie he's there, they don't give him any lines, and it's kind of an ironic use of the actor, but you do get to see Bruce Campbell playing this unsure father that doesn't really want to let his daughter go, and delivering that performance without even talking. It really shows that this actor has really good range and can do more than just what he's known for, and it's cool to see a silent performance from Bruce Campbell for that beginning part. Now, he does come back later in the movie, and he does talk there. You know, by the end of the movie, everybody knows that there's something going on, so he's not going to stay silent. But it is kind of weird because he's not in most of the movie, and then he shows up at the end and he actually jumps to being a bigger character, but not the main character, but he is there at the end, and it's so good to see him, you know, and even when he's not the biggest character, he's a presence, and he really brings life, you know, to this part, which, you know, they could have given to anyone, but giving it to a great actor like that really makes what could have been a small role really big and important, and it is great to see him, especially at the end where he gets to do a good bit of stuff. But anyway, yeah, a really good movie. I definitely recommend it to Conjuring fans and to people that are fans of haunting movies. A little bit like Suspiria, but without the bright colors. Actually, kind of reminds me of the atmosphere of Silent Hill. Not when Silent Hill's in the obviously haunted mode, but the Silent Hill that's more close to the real world, where all the colors are dark and grimy and the characters are a little bit different. You know, the real world Silent Hill, not the haunted Silent Hill. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. Really, really cool, dark atmosphere with lots of cool woodland colors. Credit to the cinematographer there, and all the imagery is really beautiful in this movie. But anyway, definitely recommend it. And I'll definitely be doing more Lucky McKee films. Like I said, looking forward to May and All Cheerleaders Must Die. But if you have a favorite Lucky McKee film, I'd really look forward to recommendations. And, you know, if you like this movie, I said it's like The Conjuring, but, you know, what do you think it's like? What are your recommendations if you like this movie you might also like? But anyway, for everyone who's watched this far, thank you for watching. I do like 95% horror movies on this channel, so if that sounds interesting, I definitely recommend you stick around and watch more. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. And I'll put a relevant playlist at the bottom here. That being said, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon.